Before we get started, I just want to say thanks to Nate on Twitter for sending me these. I got a sweet Pele Pop Funko vinyl figure, so it's my new piece of Rolly Crump artwork I can display in my room. But look, oh no, my little Barker parrot, he's missing his foot. This isn't Nate's fault. This is just probably shipping, or he has a flimsy leg or something, but I'm gonna glue it back on, it'll be fine, but oh no, how's he gonna stand with just one foot?
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
So, everybody, in case you didn't know, Pixar Pier opened late last week, and I've decided to make a video on it. From what I've seen so far, fan reaction to this land opening is very mixed, which, I mean, isn't out of the usual for Disneyland fans. Now, because I wasn't invited to the media preview opening, I'll be using footage that I took during the construction of Pixar Pier. I've been seeing people say that the land is unfinished and that they rushed it to open, and half of the attractions in Pixar Pier still aren't open, that being Inside Out. And, of course, Jesse's Carousel. What's that attraction called again? Oh, that's right, Jesse's Critter Carousel. Today we will be taking a step back from the opening of Pixar Pier and talking about whether Pixar Pier is an unfinished disaster or a Disney masterpiece. Now, if you can't tell by this amazing video, Pixar Pier looks stunning at night, and if you're just listening, well, trust me, take my word for it, it looks great. Pixar Pier opened on June 23rd, 2018, at the time of making this video, last Saturday. It features 3 new-ish attractions: Toy Story Midway Mania, which remains unchanged, the Incredicoaster, which is a rethemed version of California Screamin', and the Pixar Pal-Around, which is a rethemed version of Mickey's Fun Wheel. And yes, I will still be calling it Mickey's Fun Wheel from here until the end of time. Not because I hate the new name, but just because I'm so used to calling it the Fun Wheel. More importantly than the new attractions though, we have brand new food stands dotting the pier, the most important of which is Jack Jack's Cookie Num Nums, which is a really great name for a food stand, and they serve giant personal cookies, so I mean, there's really no downside to that change at all. As mentioned before, there are 2 attractions in Pixar Pier that did not open with the rest of the pier, that being Jesse's Critter Carousel and the Inside Out Whirlwind of Emotions. Pixar Pier is a lot more vibrant than Paradise Pier was, with a lot of bright reds and bright blues popping out at you. Along with the new attractions and new food, Pixar Pier also introduced brand new games with the boardwalk, but now we're going to get to what everyone wants to hear. What is the good and what is the bad about Pixar Pier? One of the main complaints I see from Disneyland fans online is that Pixar Pier was completely unnecessary and Paradise Pier was just fine. While one part of me sees what these people are saying and even agrees to some point, another part of me says if you can update it, why wouldn't you? They seem to be taking Pixar Pier the same direction they're taking the rest of the park. Disney California Adventure is still kind of remaining Californian with Pixar Pier representing the boardwalk, and rumors have been circulating that the brand new Marvel expansion will take place in an Avengers facility in Southern California. To me, it feels like Disney is trying to keep the California in California Adventure while also making it the intellectual property park at the same time. Now, of course, keeping the park themed around California can still have its drawbacks, but I think adding the intellectual properties like Marvel and Pixar into the park will help extend the park's longevity. Setting the park in the past, quote-unquote, is an easier way to keep it going for a longer time without having to update it, like Pixar Pier or Main Street USA. Setting a park in the future or in modern times is often a bad idea because it quickly becomes outdated and tacky. I mean, look at Epcot. It was modern when it first opened, and now, well, poor Epcot. And that is the one reservation I have about the Marvel Land coming to DCA. It's set in the present or near future, which means it's going to be outdated 5 years after it opens. But of course, I hope Disney proves me wrong. Back to Pixar Pier though, another complaint that I hear about this is that this land is molded around and made for the Instagrammers who go to Disneyland just to take pictures of things. And no, before you ask, this is not a straw man argument, this is a real complaint I've seen. And I don't really see the point of this argument. I mean, Disneyland is made for everyone to come and enjoy. If it looks good, that's a good thing, right? I think the source of this guy's argument was that Paradise Pier didn't need retheming, but they did retheme it to please the Instagrammers or people who go to Disneyland to take photos because Paradise Pier wasn't as photogenic as the new Pixar Pier is. I don't think that was Disney's end game when they redesigned Paradise Pier into Pixar Pier, but let's just say that it was. At least everything looks a lot better now. Okay, but real talk for a second, my biggest complaint about Pixar Pier is what are they gonna rename the Paradise Pier Hotel to? Are they going to rename it the Pixar Pier Hotel and retheme the entire thing, or rename it the Paradise Park Hotel and just keep it themed the same but theme it towards the Paradise Gardens Park area across from Pixar Pier, or are they just going to tear it down completely and build the new contemporary over there? I don't know, a man can dream. For the most part, the recent additions to Disneyland have been really well done. The Tropical Hideaway, Fantasy Fair, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The feedback that I've seen from these changes has been really popular, but DCA, on the other hand, can't quite seem to catch a break. A lot of fans were up in arms when they announced that they were changing the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror into Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. A lot of fans were also upset when they announced they were changing Paradise Pier into Pixar Pier, and even more fans were upset when they announced they were changing Bugs Land and Hollywood Land into Marvel Land. And a lot of these complaints, I think, stem from the guests' idea of DCA moving forward compared to Disney's idea of DCA moving forward. For some strange reason, I've seen a very big resurgence of fans of the original DCA coming up and being more vocal in the recent 2 to 3 years. People who were fans of the original Southern California postcard superstar limo style of Disney California Adventure rather than the new direction Disney has decided to take the park. Which is kind of strange to me because I thought 4 or 5 years ago we all agreed that the original DCA was kind of terrible and it needed to change. I'm really curious what these people wanted DCA to become because I didn't enter the DCA fandom, I guess you could say, until relatively later on in my Disney career. Did you see it becoming more like classic Hollywood with the opening of Buena Vista Street, or did you see it becoming more of the intellectual property park that it's becoming today? Let me know down in the comments below what your ideal version of Disney's California Adventure is. DCA, in my opinion, has always been the supplementary experience to the original Disneyland park, and I think this is a great place they can put their Pixar intellectual properties, their Marvel intellectual properties, and ideally their Star Wars intellectual properties, but obviously that's not happening with the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge later on. One thing that I have seen that I'm not quite sure about is the Incredicoaster. Obviously Disney was going for the sort of dark ride roller coaster fusion similar to how they built the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but with the type of roller coaster California Screamin' was, they couldn't really build an indoor section dark ride like the Mine Train has. Instead, they got rid of the old blue tubes and got new red tubes and made them longer and made them block out more light so they could put in new show scenes inside those tubes. Now, because you're moving through these tubes very quickly, you have to be able to understand what's going on in that scene in just 1 or 2 seconds. And this is one of the main complaints I've seen about the Incredicoaster specifically, is that it's just too simplistic with its show scenes. Either commit to a full dark ride show scene inside of a roller coaster, or they could just make it a roller coaster with no show scenes and convey the story through sound. Obviously, everyone has to ride the attraction for themselves, so I'm going to reserve judgment until I actually get on and ride the roller coaster. But there is a part in the roller coaster where you go up and down, sort of in like a wave-like fashion. You remember that from California Screamin', where they put little jack-jacks on sticks on either side of the roller coaster. It's not playing right now on the screen, but it'll pop up later. You'll see it at the end of the roller coaster. I think they could have done this scene a little better. It's a little cheesy with just the little babies on sticks surrounding you. Instead, they could have built either 2 walls on either side and projected a bunch of little jack-jacks on there, or they could have built another tube and just had a bunch of jack-jack figures inside that one, but of course I'm just nitpicking at this point. The Incredicoaster opened as the sort of e-ticket flagship attraction for Pixar Pier that was open on opening day, but instead of amazing a bunch of people, it left a lot of people just saying, well, it was good. I don't know if it was better than California Screamin', but it was fine, I guess. And here you see it, ladies and gentlemen, the babies on sticks surrounding you on your left and on your right. I just don't think that effect looks good at all. But again, I'll reserve judgment until I actually get to ride the attraction. The Pixar Pal Around is the new incarnation of Mickey's Fun Wheel, and Toy Story Midway Mania remained largely unchanged. Just the outside of the attractions have changed. So another complaint that I've heard is that Pixar Pier opened with really only 1 new attraction. The other 2 only really got a coat of paint on the outside. And it's due to these facts that people say Pixar Pier is sort of rushed and that it wasn't ready to open. Well, of course that, and the fact that there was still paint drying when the land opened, but I mean, come on, that's a Disneyland staple. Do I think that they should have waited a couple months to open Pixar Pier when all of the attractions were ready to open? Possibly, but I do think Pixar Pier opened with enough attractions to keep people moving through the land and to justify its opening. And I haven't even talked about the Lamplight Lounge yet, which is a retheming of the Cove Bar with an all-new menu. Well, mostly all new. But after all of this is said and done, do I think Pixar Pier is a theming disaster? Do I think it deserves to go down in the book of Disney's park mistakes? And in this case, I really don't think so. I think it's going to go down in history like Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. When it was first announced and opened, opened, Disney Parks fans were not excited for it. You could even say that these fans hated the change, but I think over time Disney fans will come to realize that it may be even better than the original Paradise Pier. Again, please don't take my word for it, I haven't even been to Pixar Pier yet. For all I know, it could be a massive travesty and a horrible thing that Disney decided to do on the fly to capitalize on the success of The Incredibles 2 and other Pixar films that recently opened. Let me know down in the comments below, have you been to Pixar Pier yet? What do you think about it? Do you think it's really, really good, it's really, really bad, or do you think it's just Paradise Pier rethemed? Do you think it's more of the same thing, it's just different? I think on the subject of Disney fans hating an attraction or land when it first opened and then coming to love it, merits me showing this little infographic again just so you guys have that handy. This very commonly ends up to be true. The answer to whether Pixar Pier is an amazing success or a terrible failure in the end falls to you. I guess a good thing about Pixar Pier recently opening, if you hate the land, you get a shorter line for Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion, so that's a plus, right? The transformation of Paradise Pier is yet another step into the future with DCA, yet another sign that the park is becoming something completely different from when it opened. Disney California Adventure is becoming less about the California and more about the adventure. As time moves forward, I wouldn't be surprised to see more rethemings of different areas similar to how they rethemed Paradise Pier into Pixar Pier. And I think in times like these, whether you like Pixar Pier or not, we can look to the famous words of Walt himself. Disneyland will never be completed. It will continue to grow as long as there is imagination left in the world. Hey everybody, how's it going? We are pretty deep into summer at this point. I hope you guys are having a good summer. How did you guys enjoy this video on Pixar Pier? Did you go to the opening day of Pixar Pier? I'd love to hear those stories. Were the lines absolutely crazy? As always everybody, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like that, please hit that like button and that subscribe button if you're new around here. And if you super duper liked this video, please consider heading over to my Patreon and donating even just $1 or $2 over there. You'll get access to early episode audio and exclusive giveaways just for Patreon patrons. I've also considered adding tiers to my Patreon patrons, so like a $5 tier would get you access to something that a $1 patron wouldn't get access to, like a live stream or a Q&A or something like that. If there's enough interest in that, I will definitely do that, but for now, there's just going to be one tier. Just any amount of money will get you early access to audio from the episodes and the giveaways. Also remember that you can follow me on Twitter if you want more details regarding my Disney adventures and escapades, if you want more personal details about when I will be in the park or what I'm doing or just what I think about all the time. Remember that there is an Offhand Disney Discord if you want to discuss Disney or Offhand Disney with other like-minded fans, and there is an Offhand Disney subreddit, not super active, but I'm hoping to change that pretty soon here. And remember that Offhand Disney merchandise is available right now at my Spreadshirt shop. The link for that is in the description below. I'm adding a new design probably tomorrow after this video goes up, so keep an eye out for that. Just something to show off your Offhand Disney Jean Lafitte pride when you're inside the Disney parks if you feel so inclined. As always, again everybody, thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more like this, remember to hit that like button. If you like Pixar Pier, let me know down in the comments below. Anyways guys, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.